Adanya Swamiji, respected dignitaries and my friends, a very good afternoon to you all. So, since the past few sessions, we know we have mentors here, so we'll be extra polite. And my topic is, we're sitting on a knowledge powerhouse, and how we are just sitting on it and still not getting anywhere. Why? So we just did a SWOT analysis for the situation. SWOT is a simple, it's an age-old analysis technique that's used by Harvard Business School, which does strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat in the same order. So here we are at 13.6% Hindus today in the world. And we don't see Jews in this category because they're almost non-existent at 2.2%. I'm trying to bring out a comparison as where we are, where they are in terms of population, where we are in terms of success and financial standing in the society between Hindus and Jews. So we check on our strengths being Hindus. That's our value system. It's ethical and family value system that differentiates us from all the other communities in the world. The kind of exposure we have to business markets since early on, basic networking intelligence that we have, the theory that we believe that intelligence and skill can be acquired and it can be improved on with constant practice. That gives us an edge over the Westerners who believe that whatever you have is what you're born with, and you cannot improve on it later on. Majority of our youth is qualified intellectuals and professionals. And at the 2012 Science Talent Search, 3 of the 10 junior Nobel Prize winners were Hindu Americans. In just the last 2 months, Hindu American Esha Khare was a top winner at the International Science and Engineering Fair. There was Aseem Jha, who won perfect scores on SAT and ACT. 3 of the 10 junior Nobel Prizes were, that's where we were. So we know we are intelligent. We have an inherent brilliance. Still, why is it that we do not fare so well? Okay, those who are really feeling proud, we can just add on. As for the qualifications, we are better qualified in New Zealand versus it's Hindu people versus the whole of New Zealand. Then we are more qualified in Australia as well. Most of us, we go for higher degrees as Hindus. And we're a highly qualified community in USA as well. So let's get to our weaknesses. What is it that we do wrong? When we are educated, we are intelligent, we have the resources, and we are still not at the top. The weaknesses. We are isolated. That's one. Not because we do not have a connection forum, but we are overindulgent in technology. We just came up like a boom, and we did not know how to handle it probably. We just without the discretion of how to use it, we adapted it in our lifestyle, which cuts off from people instead of connecting. That's one. So it's technology that's ruling us and not we ruling it. We're fragmented due to a shallow, self-centric vision wherein we feel, I'm fine, I'm doing all right, so I'm not bothered about the rest of the group, which needs to be changed. There's a false security bubble that we refer to often, you know. We have been invaded, and we are the only race that survived. We survived, and so we believe that nothing can go wrong with us. Trust me, my friends, we will not have another Holocaust like Jews. And every time something happens from a Holocaust, like Jew emerge like a phoenix, but what is happening with us is we are contracting slowly. And as Swami Vivekananda says, contraction is death. So it's very slow, it's too slow to even realize until you constantly see the numbers. There's a shortcut route tendency because we are so ambitious, we have an exposure to whatever can be achieved. So we think we can just have everything just now, like a woof, you do a Google search and you get the answer, and that's how you make a presentation and you become rich overnight. It doesn't really happen, so let's wake up. You might be feeling proud of the data that we have here, as in we are 3.22 millions of Hindus in USA. That is just 1.5 tiny bit % of the population, but we have so many of them there. So those who feel proud, I'm sorry, but until we are, because of these data, we get the cases of the brain drains like Vikram Pandit and Devin Sharma, who were not only used and betrayed by the companies just where they worked, they gave their blood and sweat to, and they shaped and strengthened and worked for. It also shows one of the attitude where we are, until we are denied of something, we do not react. We wanted to use the supercomputers. America's refused to give us one. So we were denied. We create one of our own, and then they become the buyers. Well, we always react, and we do not act proactive. So you have to be foresighted. When we had the people, we had the brains, we had the resources, we could create one without any other support from outside. So we could create it before them as well, and not just follow when they say, no, you can't have it. When we are being more qualified, we are still not amongst the top $50,000 earners. We are somewhere low. Why is that? Should be explained further, because we are better off in terms of education and qualifications. Jew, which is a mere 2.2% in the world population, and only half of it is in the Americas, fare much better than us there. And Hindus fare only second, where we should be like on the top with a very, very high margin. How they do it is they're more like a cadre-based society, where they network and bond together very well. And they promote each other. And if there are a Jew, let's say there's a Jew on the panel, and there is a Jew and an American, a Hindu or a Christian person going for a job opportunity, looking for something, guess who gets the job if you have the same qualifications and all the parameters keeping the same? I mean, we know the answer. It's always a Jew getting Jew jobs. And that's how most of the American politics, Senate, is ruled by Jews. And so is the rest of the world, because America rules the thumb. Opportunities for Hindu youth. So there's been a lot of depression and depressing thoughts. Where we can do better. Technology and high-end specific purpose products is where the niche market is. So if we can identify and fill the gaps in the niche market, as we heard in the previous sessions, or aim for top government positions in policy making, training the trainers, interpersonal relationships, entwined networking for mutual promotion, as my friend said. And it is the old, tap new business fields like elderly care homes. Just go on, tap something new when you create up with the system. And there's always a gap. Once you find it, you can tap it. Well, these are the few top business families from Bharat, which are in the Forbes list. You can see there's an equal number, like 3 of them are inherited, 2 are inherited and self-made. When I say inherited and self-made, I say they had a system, but they grew, they adapt, and they changed. They took the adaptation to the modern times. And there are 3 more which are further self-made. We are capable for billions and billions of dollars. These are the top 30 under 30 that we have. This Gurbaksh Chahal, he's just 28. He's the American author who dropped out of school, and he's running an empire worth $340 million. Then we have Naveen Salvadurai, who is again 28, and he's worked. He has taken job offers with some companies, but that was more like for a personal development. And then you set up an enterprise, go over $80 million, and you're not even 30. So it doesn't take a long time, but it's not really overnight. Then we have Rishi. He's ranked 24 in the top 30 list, and his was a slow process. He was the co-founder, and eventually the company totally slipped into his hands. It's a very, very interesting process that and he built the company strong right from the scratch. I have kept the last line of it empty because by the time we have a next session, we'll have a face from the panel maybe on this, or some of you down there who have very, very brilliant ideas. So that's for you, the space there to be filled by you. And thank you. The threats that we face here is misguided brilliance. When I say brilliant, yes, we do not deny we are brilliant because of the education system we have and the way we are taught. But we are made to believe in myths and wrong information since wrong, and wrong information is worse than misinformed. So comforters have become necessities. We are so used to being in a comfortable situation that we cannot take risks. That, my friends, need to change fast. Zero low exposure to the hard-hitting realities and the unchannelized youth. Like in 70s, there was an 18-year-old who would be a graduate. And now we have a 22-year-old who's becoming graduate. So we have 4 years being wasted in the process because the government cannot absorb the unemployed youth. So you're wasting time. So if you have a dream, I'm not advocating dropping out of school, but if you have a dream, make it your priority. Follow it and not just go after the system, get a degree, and then just leave it at that. So I suggest for a desperate need to understand our intelligent and glorious ancestry that we have. We're the most advanced, knowledgeable, and logical civilization. Create knowledge filters, reestablish the traditional value system for education and business. Train yourself and the children. Through rough and rigorous training, a comfortable society is a perishing society, as Swamiji always points out. Jews emerge and prosper after every suppression. Learn techniques of survival, or not just survival, but constant sustainable growth. Business and diplomacy from Sri Krishna and Chanakya. Read Kotler for marketing and other business ideas. So that's how we prosper, and we surely are supposed to prosper. Thank you. Any questions we can discuss outside later. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Liza. Our next speaker is Ms. Pritika Sharma, who is the Joint General Secretary of Hindu Council of New Zealand, Vishwa Hindu Parishad, New Zealand. Pritika is a graduate in the field of applied science. She has worked as a researcher at Auckland University of Technology previously. She has completed postgraduate studies in public health and currently works as a senior health promoter with the portfolio of migrant and refugee communities for the Auckland Regional Public Health Service. Pritika is one of the key facilitators of the Global Hindu Students and Youth Network. She's a dynamic leader and is a source of inspiration for me. I'd please request her to come to the stage.
Thank you, Kritika. Namaste, ladies and gentlemen. Nisambula Vinaka and kia ora from New Zealand to all of you. Now, to gain the most out of my presentation, I've been asked to talk about a youth vision of Hindu economy, and my topic is strategic positioning of Hindu youth in the global society. Ji Swamiji. To gain the most out of my presentation, just where your water bottles are, there's an imaginary pair of lenses. Please pick it. I said it's an imaginary pair of lenses. Please pick it and put it on so you can see the youth vision through that imaginary lenses. I'm going to put up this graph. I know you've seen this yesterday and today, but before we start talking about what the youth vision looks like for future, it's important to go back to what history had. Historically, Hindustan and other countries, other Asian countries, Java, Sumatra, Suvarnadip called Siam today, Malaya, Champa called Vietnam today, Khmer and called Cambodia today, all these countries combined together, if you see from 0 to 1,000, the first column, contributed to 49% of the world's gross domestic product. That, ladies and gentlemen, was the golden period of the Hindu civilization. World's greatest monument of today, Angkor Wat Temple, Brihadeshwar, Rameshwaram, and Prambanan temples were built during that time. That was the period when Hindus built world-class universities like Takshashila, Bikramshila, and Nalanda. Students from all over the world used to come to these universities for education. you've all seen this graph yesterday as well, but I'll put it up. After that golden period of the Hindu civilization, due to various reasons in various places, in the case of Hindustan, India, Islamic onslaught and plunder, British colonization and their continuous loot, led to weakening of the Hindu economy, and Hindu economy was finally destroyed. Hindu civilization became poor, and the society suffered poverty, famine, and diseases. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, poor, malnourished, and diseased people do not place priority on literacy. So we became illiterate as well. As a result, our society lost respect. After this, after we lost respect, enslaved Hindus were transported as indentured laborers to Africa, Mauritius, Caribbean, Fiji, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Sri Lanka. I am a fourth generation descendant of one of those enslaved Hindus. And at that time, position and status of women in our society denigrated to a position which we are yet to recover from, and that's a topic of another discussion. This, ladies and gentlemen, was the lowest period of Hindu society. So, today, what's happening with Hindus today? Today we are Hindu Americans, Hindu British, Hindu New Zealanders, Hindu Europeans, Hindu Indonesians, Hindu Canadians, Hindu Australians, Hindu Fijians, Hindu Caribbeans, Hindu Malaysians. The point is, we are all Hindus today. What does this mean? What does this mean for people under the age of 35 in this room thinking about Hindu economy for the next 50 years? It means a pan-Hindu civilizational identity. And for this pan-Hindu civilizational identity, why is economy so important? Why are we not here talking about Vedanta, Hindu philosophy, or Sanskriti? Why economy? The point is that economic strength gives confidence to any community, nation, or civilization, Hindu or non-Hindu. Economic strength translates into military strength. And economic and military strength combined translates into political and diplomatic strength. And those are the ingredients for a civilization, a nation, or a society to be respected. Whether you are Hindu or not, it doesn't matter. Those are the ingredients. Some examples are the rise of economic strength of USA in the 20th century. Their economic strength translated into their military strength. Economic and military strength combined translated to their political and diplomatic strength. Then USA started building world-class universities where Hindus and the rest of the world go to study and work. USA became a superpower. And this is because the strength of the economy matters. Other two examples I have are Germany and Japan. They were both devastated after World War II, but they both started developing their economies in the 20th century. As a result, for Germany, two Germany unified into one, and as a result for Japan, after they started developing their economy, they became an economic superpower. I know the Jewish community has been discussed a lot of times in this forum. I'll discuss them as well. How could I miss that? They suffered persecution for centuries, but in the 20th century, they developed their economy through community support, network, and organization. Jewish community are an economic superpower of the world as a community. China, as a last example, was almost destroyed by Mao Tse-tung. After Mao, Chinese rebuilt their economy, and now they have become the second largest economy of the world. Through their economic power, they are developing military strength, and I know that you also are witnessing that China's economic strength and military strength is translating to their political and diplomatic strength. It is therefore fair to say that it is need of the present generation of Hindus to strengthen Hindu economy to shape the future of Hindu civilization. Ladies and gentlemen, we as young Hindus of the present generation today, speaking for our next generation, are telling you that we want to live in this world with dignity and respect. We also want our Hindu civilization. Okay, I'll say that again. We want to live in this world with dignity and respect. We want our Hindu civilization and society to be recognized and respected in the rest of the world. The million-dollar question is, how will we gain this dignity? So going back to my previous graph, our mighty ancestors produced 49% of the world's gross domestic product. Today we are 1/6 of the world's population, and we are producing only 5% of the world's GDP, from 49% to 5%. How did we manage that? Anyway, in the next 10 to 15 years, if the modern day Hindu produces only a quarter of what our mighty ancestors did, we would be producing 12.25% of the world's GDP. And then our poverty and illiteracy situation will start changing for the better. For the next 15 to 30 years, if the modern day Hindu produced only half, I'm only asking us to produce only half of what our mighty ancestors did, which would be 24.5% of the world's GDP, that is when our poverty and illiteracy situation would be a matter of history. We will come out with new scientific innovations, and then we will regain respect and will be recognized with dignity in this world. When we will achieve this position, then our Hindu civilization, with this economic strength, will acquire military strength. And I know you remember from my previous slides, economic strength plus military strength translates into political and diplomatic strength. And needless to say, when we start producing just as much as our ancestors did, we will go back to the golden period. Other communities and nations have achieved this prosperity through developing multilateral business and economic platforms and cooperation among them. If we Hindus also develop such business and economic platforms, we will also develop economy and add to our prosperity. To achieve this position, we as young Hindus are requesting you, seniors, to create a world-class business and economic platform where Hindus should cooperate and collaborate across geographical zone and countries, spreading from Auckland to Alaska, from Oslo to Johannesburg, cutting across the entire globe. That's what needs to be done. Why are we requesting you? Now we recognize and acknowledge that in the colonial and post-colonial time, your generation and your previous generation has suffered due to lack of such platform and support system. You have struggled, we recognize that, you have struggled, and as a result, your progress was hampered. And that is why we as Hindus lag behind many other communities in the world. We request you that for our future generation, they should not suffer the way you have. This platform will provide necessary system support, guidance, mentoring, knowledge, and information, and it will act as a springboard from where we can take our Hindu economy forward much faster and regain our desired position in the world. To sustain this, build a strong and sustainable institutional framework that will help and propel Hindu economy to move forward and generate surplus wealth. And when surplus wealth will be generated, everyone will gain and society will be benefited. World Hindu Economic Forum is an initiative in the right direction. It needs to be strengthened so that centuries later, some young girl or some young boy will stand before a forum like this, do the same presentation, and talk about his or her mighty ancestors of the 21st century who lay the groundwork for them. Namaste.